come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid.
The bad boys are back for episode 2 of Gamertime podcast. I am Big Al Mocius, and this is Matthew Kelly. How you doing today, Matthew?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Pretty well, thank you.
All right, cool. That was a great intro, man. I gotta add a few things. I just wanted to say that we really appreciate all the love that we got from the first ever episode of the Gamertime podcast. We're up over 100 views, and it's actually very nice for the first one ever. I really didn't think we'd get that far. But you can support us further by liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel at the Gamertime Shows. We're also on Twitter at Gamertime Shows, so you can follow us there as well. For all of the advertisers out there, we currently do not have any and are looking if anyone is interested. You can reach us by email at gamertimeshows@gmail.com. So just to give people a look into the future of the Gamertime podcast, we are going to aim to record a podcast Fridays and have it up Friday nights, Saturday mornings, stuff like that. I'm sure there are going to be times where that may not be possible, or we may not be able to be in the same place at the same time as it was for episode 1 via the phone call. We also plan on having some future episodes to either have some gameplay or sports games or even live videos of us, but that's further down the road. So let's get started. What do you got?
Alright, well, since we know the Masters is one of the biggest golf tournaments of the year, it's underway in round 2 right now, and I believe that we're going to make predictions on who's going to win, and starting with me, I believe that there's so many good golfers out there, and it's pretty much open for anybody. I know Tiger is always known as one of the top guys for years, but I don't think he takes this one. I think Jason Day will pull out, and he already has 12 PGA major wins, so I give him a good shot.
Wow, did your homework on that one? Wow, I'm impressed. Yeah, I just pulled up the leaderboard right now, and it's in the second round, like you said. This guy Francesco Molinari is tied with Jason Day, Brooks Koepka, Adam Scott, Oosthuizen, all at -7 right now.
Wow.
So that looks like, I'm not sure how big of the leaderboard it is, but yeah, Tiger, it was actually really refreshing to see him kind of just really bounce back. Obviously his first year back after how many years being off, his first full year back last year, there was, ups and downs and all that stuff, and now to start this year, it seems like he's doing pretty good. He had a great first round, he had a decent second round. He's at -4 right now. He's tied for 6th. But I like him. I'm not sure, like you said, I'm not sure if he's gonna win. It'd be nice, but I think I'm gonna go with Dustin Johnson.
Dustin Johnson.
I think, yeah, he's currently tied with 6th as well, -2. Today he's at -2. He's at -6 on the whole tournament. So yeah, that would be my pick. I really like his game, and he's he's not up and coming, but he's right in his prime pretty much. So
right.
Yeah. What else you got?
Well, as we also know, the playoffs all around basketball and hockey are starting, and let's start here with hockey. The Tampa Bay Lightning, coming out of the East, are the number 1 seed, and it seems that they lost Game 1 at home versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, I believe that's the Lightning will still win that matchup because I just think they're a more talented team, but could we smell an upset coming with Columbus, or did Tampa Bay just stay on their tracks and overcome this and keep going?
Are you talking like a 4-game sweep of Tampa Bay, of the President's Cup champions, of all that great stuff? Or you 7 games, 6 games? What do you think?
I think if Columbus would upset them, I'd say it would be like in 5 or 6. I don't think they take the next couple. I don't think it'd be a sweep, but I just don't see that. I don't see the upset happening, and I think Tampa Bay's too good that they will bounce back and even probably win in 6, other than 7.
Yeah, I agree. I think you have a team that has 60 wins, and they're the points leader, the wins leader, the president's champion, whatever that's called. I'm not a huge hockey fan, but this is a fluke. I mean, if they get one more game, it would be amazing. But Tampa Bay is going to win either the next 4 in a row or 4 out of 5. They're gonna win either 5 or 6 games.
Right.
Also,
another shocker was, even though they are the favorites, the Islanders won Game 1 against Pittsburgh, which I do think that Pittsburgh's a more talented, better team, but right now they are not the favorites, and they are down 1-0 in the series. So I actually can see them coming back to win that series if they can. But I think they're just an overall better team than the actual favorite.
Wow. Yeah. I'm just looking at it now too. The Blues beat the Jets 2-1. The Stars beat the Predators 3-2. And the Sharks beat the Vegas Knights 5-2. Like I said earlier, I'm not the hugest hockey fan in the world, but I think obviously a lot of people knew, the Las Vegas Golden Knights in their first ever year made it to the Stanley Cup final. Losing, but they made it. So their second year, they're in the playoffs obviously, as I'm reading, but they have a just as good a year, or no?
Well, I think because of their opponent this year in the first round, it's the San Jose Sharks, which I think actually the Sharks are my prediction to go all the way this year, to be honest. So obviously anything can happen. They're still a young team. I just think the Sharks' experience will win that series, but they still are showing progress year after year.
Okay, cool. All right, so like we've done in episode 1, a couple of different sports here and there. There isn't much to talk about in the NFL. We touched on the NFL draft coming up in a few weeks in the first episode. There hasn't been much change in that, I don't think. Baseball, you're about 2-3 weeks old now in the season. A couple of hitters have gotten off to a great start and continued that. I know Bryce Harper, once again, hitting another 3-run blast the other night. That was a great, him and, who's the other Philly? Rhys Hoskins. Those guys, they're going deep, seems like every night. They have one of the best offenses in baseball so far.
Right, and to touch on that, even though they've been, from a pitching standpoint, they did lose 15-1 the other day, and that's kind of not normal coming from them. But I think the offensive firepower will still be there. It's just if they want to make another move, they should just touch up on that pitching and not try to go by pitcher by committee, and really find a good, decent closer to shut those games down.
Yeah. So this is still baseball, but I wanted to point out, we'll branch into a little bit more video games too as well, that I also joined you in buying MLB The Show 19.
Nice.
And it is a very, very good game. If you people haven't bought it yet, buy it. It's one of the most authentic games, realistic games that is out there in sports video games right now. I decided to start a franchise. That's my favorite mode in all sports games. But I wanted to try and pick a team that I don't either play with or I don't think is going to be very good. But that would, to me, in my opinion, were the Pittsburgh Pirates. So I picked them, played opening day against the Reds, and it's just a beautiful game. From what I remember, I heard this one time that the Cincinnati Reds opening day every single year is a day game. because it's like the oldest. They're like the oldest team in baseball. They're like the, that ballpark has been in the same area. I know it's probably not the same ballpark as how many years, but it's been in the same area for decades. So from what I hear, opening day every time is always a day game. But it was just, you saw that. You saw the beautiful sun. You see packed house in the stadium. You saw the introductions. You saw that logo on the side on the first base and third base that says opening day. It's such a good game, man.
And I don't know if you touched up on the road to the show yet, but I like the fact that you can customize so much in your player. Like right now, I'm in my road to the show guy of Alex Moschus myself. I did a lot of different like colors of like my glove and my bat and even sunglasses and everything. I actually chose purple because that's my new favorite color.
Nice.
And he looks styling on the field, so especially at his bats. So that's a little fun feature to have during that time. And
yeah, it's a special game, man. I think it's something that for anybody who's a huge baseball fan and dabbles or just loves video games, it's a must buy. Definitely must buy. But all right, so I wanted to take over the rest of the podcast. We're 10 minutes in, but wanted to take over and just kind of dive into one of the best parts of the NBA regular season right now. I mean, the end of the NBA regular season. Tomorrow, as we speak, it's Friday night, but tomorrow it will be the NBA playoffs, and this is some of the best playoffs in years, just because the Eastern Conference is wide open. I mean, LeBron joins the Lakers, and horrible year, my team, but a horrible year. And so LeBron James, for the first time in 16 years or something like that, isn't going to be in the playoffs. It's amazing. And it opens up the East completely. The West, you still have Golden State, but I feel like there's something loose there. That's not a perfect train. You know what I mean? So I think that it's up for debate as far as who's going to win the championship.
Right. And do you see any upsets in round one as we speak of the NBA playoffs? Is there any team that can, as you were talking about the East being up for grabs, can there be an upset in one of these round one games?
You know what? Why don't we we'll save that. I think I've got one actually.
I do as well. So we'll
okay. All right. So let's start with this. Every year there's awards, right? So the first one I want to touch on is the most improved player of the year. Either coming from a horrible year before into a great year now, or just coming from not being well known to being much more known. Okay. D'Angelo Russell is a good candidate. He's the Brooklyn Nets point guard. He's came from the Lakers. Had a year last year with Brooklyn where he did okay. He put his name on the map, but this year has definitely jumped a big leap. He's averaging 21.1 points a game, 3.9 rebounds, 7 assists, shooting 43% from the field, 37 from 3, and at the free throw line, 78%. Another guy is Pascal Siakam on the Toronto Raptors. I never heard of the dude. I mean, seriously, it took me. The season started in October. By Thanksgiving were the first couple of times I knew who he was, and this is his second year. So he had all year last year, the first month of this year. I never even heard of him.
Right, I haven't either. Yeah. To be honest with you.
So 17 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 54% field goal. And here's the crazy part: D'Angelo 37 from 3, 78 from the free throw line, 37 from 3, and 78 from the free throw line for Siakam as well. Almost they are identical to from the 2 lines on the court. And another guy, we're roughly going to do 2 to 3 guys for each award here, just for debate. But Another guy is De'Aaron Fox. His rookie year was okay last year. He wasn't huge. It wasn't like, oh, this guy's going to be a star, but he's kind of showing that he might be now. 17 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 46 from the field, 37 from 3, and 72 from the line. So, what's your pick? Who do you think is the stronger person here?
Well, this group obviously I like all 3, but I'm gonna go with De'Aaron Fox.
Wow.
They all put up, even though D'Angelo put up 4 more points per game, he's still in the double digits, and he has the highest amount as far as assists per game. Which, if I'm talking favorite players, I always generally look at assists because I like the whole distributing, playing as a team, that type of thing. So him averaging the highest one just puts me over the top as far as my decision. They're all good, but I like his contribution.
Okay, I can't ignore Pascal Siakam. I mean, this guy, I know a lot about basketball, and I literally never heard of this guy. It's amazing how that can happen, in my opinion. Like, I think he might have been 9th or 10th man off the bench last year.
Wow.
And look at him now, 17 a game. I think he does a little bit more of everything for your team. I hear he's a great defender as well. When he's not the star of the Raptors, but when Kawhi Leonard, who is the star, when he's down, Pascal stepped up and he led that team. So I think I'm going to go with Siakam for most improved.
I like that.
So here's a really nice debate, and it's big for Dallas fans and Atlanta fans. Is Rookie of the Year.
Oof.
This is a competition that I thought was being run out of the gym for most of the year to start the year, which is Luka Doncic. I mean, he's had an incredible year: 21 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 42 from the field, 32 from 3, and 71 from the free throw line. He's obviously 19 years old, but he's got professional experience from being overseas. He grew up overseas. Let's just look at his name. And he comes over here, and he even said that he thought this was easier. Like what?
Wow.
Yeah. But a good guy to kind of fight him off and definitely blew up in the second half of the year was Trae Young. Everybody knew about his shooting coming out of college. He had 19 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, 41% from the field, and 32 from 3, and 82 from the line. It looks like he's a much better free throw shooter, but I think Luka can definitely grow with that. But Trae Young just looks like the alpha on that Atlanta team. Like, they gave him the keys from the start, and he's finally coming through. So
yes.
I think, in my opinion, my pick is Luka, though. Luka, from what I hear, is a much better defender, and Trae Young is just kind of a blow-by type of defender, and you can't have that. So I like Luka.
Okay. You know how I mentioned about looking at favorite guys of mainly assists and contribution to passing the ball around and being a team player. Trae Young does have averaging a little bit more than that, other than Luka, but in this case, you got to look at every other stat too, and I agree with you, Matt. I think Luka's the better pick here. I think he rebounding is a big plus, especially when either offense or defensively. Getting those higher amounts of points per game, and definitely he can, as you said, work on the free throw shooting, but I think he's an overall better player, and I think he's throughout the years, I think he'll have a better career than Trae.
Wow, better career. Well, that's a whole different. Okay, all right. So the next one is Coach of the Year, and it's not a glorified position. Diehards might know the names better than some other fans, but when I put these two names down, you were kind of like, I don't know who that is, which
Correct.
is understandable because these guys aren't the biggest names in basketball even.
Right.
But they've had incredible years. Mike Malone of the Denver Nuggets, the number 2 seed in the West at 54-28. And then there's Mike Budenholzer, who's the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, the number 1 seed in the East at 60-22. I'm more leaning towards Mike Malone because I think that the Nuggets came out of nowhere, whereas the Bucks kind of had a solid year last year, and they just needed the right moment in time or the right system or something like that. So kudos for Budenholzer for putting this team over the top in the East, but I think Mike Malone had more work cut out for him, and he had a harder job to get to where he is. And 2 seed in the West is definitely not where people had the Nuggets.
That's right. I mean, I can't argue that statement. Both of them are, as you said, coming out of teams that are in the past have not been the best, but have grown, and that's why it is a tough debate. But I'm going to go the other Mike. I'm going to go Budenholzer, just because I know.
You don't think that's the Greek Freaks doing because they're so good, or do you think it's really the coaching system, or what do you think?
Well, adding that type of caliber player does put them over the top, but you got to think of it from years and years ago that they were just the laughing stock of the league.
Right.
And Denver at those times when Milwaukee was horrible, Denver was a pretty more decent team than, and obviously
Carmelo
they are
years.
in the Carmelo Anthony years and stuff. Right. So Denver getting number 2 seed, that's great for them, but having a Milwaukee team struggle that much for years, just bringing them back up to this level now is too impressive to overlook.
Okay, all right. So let's move on. We've got the Defensive Player of the Year. This one is, in my opinion, the most wide open. This is so I'm just going to do the names. We've got Rudy Gobert, Paul George, Joel Embiid, and the Greek Freak Giannis Antetokounmpo. So the big men obviously have got great rebounding numbers. Rudy with 13, Embiid with 13, and Giannis with 12.5. The blocks leader out of all of this is Embiid with 1.9, and but the most all-around defensive player, and this is my pick too, is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, 12.5 rebounds, 1.3 steals, and 1.5 blocks. Like, it's so hard for an NBA player to average both steals and blocks in the ones. Most guys, if you're having a great block year, the steals are down. Or if you're having a great steal year, the blocks are down. So it's like, it's to do both at a high level, it's so hard to do.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think I have to agree with you. I have to agree with you on this one, Matt. I like Giannis as well, and it's just putting up the numbers that he does, and not just defensively, but his overall athleticism as a player. It definitely, I think, makes him a better defensive player as well from the offensive side of the ball. So just having those double-digit rebounds and just barely getting just under Embiid and Gobert for 2.3 and 1.9 blocks. That's, he can always improve on that because of that athleticism. So,
right.
It's a pretty good spot to pick to stick with.
Okay. I'm glad we agree on that one because I'm not sure we're going to agree on the next one. So, anyways, the MVP, the most valuable player of the regular season. 2018-2019 NBA MVP. So I threw in a third guy, but I think that this is really a two-man race.
Okay.
So in my opinion, third is Joel Embiid. He's having a great year. 27 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists. like I said earlier, 0.7 steals and 1.9 blocks. It's an incredible year. The Sixers are on the up and up. But I think the real race here is the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and James Harden.
Okay.
James Harden, 30, I'll repeat, 36 points per game.
36?
36. Okay? That is 8 points higher than the second place guy. That's 36. Kobe had 35 in 2006, and the next highest was Michael Jordan. So this is literally behind Michael Jordan over the last pretty much 20 years that, of scoring. He's put this type of number up is insane. And 6 rebounds and 7 assists to go with it. But like I said earlier, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 27 points, 12.5 rebounds, 5.9 assists, 1.3 steals, and 1.5 blocks per game. He's doing everything. Guys are saying this is the next face of the NBA. He's gonna MVP after MVP after MVP. You have, in my opinion, James Harden is a bad defender. He just is. They say he's got great deflection rate, which whatever that means, but he's got a great deflection rate, can get in the passing lanes, and that's fine. But as far as just guarding your man, making it harder to contest his shots and things like that, he just doesn't do that stuff. Giannis is all over the place. You cannot, the numbers speak for themselves, but the record is also there. 60 wins, the best record in the NBA. So my pick is Giannis. A lot of people are going to have a hard time getting over that 36 points a game by Harden, but to me it's Giannis. And all right, I'll throw this last stat after you take your pick. Go ahead.
All right. Well, obviously these three, any one of them deserve it, but and earlier on in the year, I was looking at Joel Embiid as the runner of it, but after more consideration, just looking at the finishing stats, as of a beast as the Greek Freak is, I'm gonna go James Harden.
Wow. Okay.
And it's nothing against any of the other two. It's just, No,
you're insane, but okay.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I said, the contribution of 7.5 assists, being a team player and contributing the ball more than Antetokounmpo, who would much rather, I feel like, be more of his own guy and try to score more and just not be as of a team player. But his stats are incredible. It's just the amount that Harden's put up over the last couple of months, it's hard to top.
I think that if you give Giannis a jumper, from the top of the key or from the 3-point line or anything like that, this is going to be the most dominant basketball player since early LeBron. This is unstoppable type stuff.
I can see that.
Yeah. Okay, so there was a stat that I wanted to throw out. Okay. I picked Antetokounmpo for MVP. I also picked him for Defensive Player of the Year. You picked him for Defensive Player of the Year, but you didn't pick him for MVP.
Correct.
So, if this happens, this is, like I said, these are predictions. These are our picks. If Giannis wins Defensive and MVP in the same year, that's only happened one other time in NBA history.
Wow.
Yeah. It's Hakeem Olajuwon.
Hakeem.
Yeah. So, you're already right there. You're already comparing him to a Hall of Famer. Last week we talked about, him being compared to a different big man in Shaq. So that right there, we just compared him to two traditional, gigantic, over 7-foot big men, and
Correct.
This guy isn't even that. I mean, he's tall. I think he's close to 7 feet, but the weight isn't there. He's not a post-up player. He's literally handles, speed, jumping, all this stuff. And the other two guys, Shaq and Hakeem, didn't do any of that. So this is on a different level, in my opinion.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty amazing when you mentioned that it's only happened once, and having it happen twice, like that's got to be a remarkable player right there.
Okay. All right, so we'll let's get into the picks. So we have in the Western Conference the first round matchup, the number 1 seed Golden State Warriors versus the number 8 seed Los Angeles Clippers. Who do you got?
Well, I can honestly say I'll give the Clippers one game. So I say Golden State's too good and they take it in 5.
Okay. Like I was saying before, I am a big Lakers fan. Everybody should know that if you are interested in this podcast. But our little brother, baby sister, infant child, who we share a locker hallway with, is the Los Angeles Clippers. Complete garbage, in my opinion. This is a 4-game sweep. It's not even close.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
Annoying little Patrick Beverly can go back to whatever. Go to some beach or whatever. All right. So the 4 seed Houston Rockets are going up against the 5 seed Utah Jazz. Home court is the Houston Rockets. So who do you got there?
Okay. Well, obviously, I think Houston's a better team. Utah, they've shown spurts of being, a very team that can compete with other teams. I just see Houston just being on that revenge trail from last year and coming out of this one in 6.
6 games. Okay. Yeah, I that's a good spot to put it. I thought about it and pushed a little bit towards 7 games. But I think home court will probably give Houston probably the same 6 games.
Okay.
So I like your choice there. So moving on, we got the number 3 seed Portland Trailblazers against the number 6 seed Oklahoma City Thunder. Obviously, the 3 gets home court in Portland. So what do you got for that?
This is another tough match. OKC has Westbrook. They got the boys. They can ball. But the Trailblazers, they're actually my team to compete in the Western Conference Finals with the Golden State Warriors. So to start out, though, I'm going to say they take this one in 6 games as well.
6, okay. This to me is not. This is probably the closest one I could think of. As far as the last one, Utah Jazz, I think they could give Houston a run for their money, and that could be close, but not as close as this. This is going to be 7 games easy. This could be double overtime in Game 7. It could be 3 days of 1 game. This is never-ending series.
Right.
This is going to be really close, in my opinion. I am going to give the edge to Oklahoma City, just because of the year Paul George is having. It's slowed back down with the injury, but I think if he finds himself completely healthy at playoff time, and he'll show up. He did against LeBron in the Heat back in the day, and Westbrook is always about the moment. He'll play at any minute of the day. 2 a.m, doesn't matter. He'll play.
That's true.
So I see Oklahoma City in 7 games.
Okay, and I feel like even if it was going to 7, I still see Blazers winning.
Blazers, yeah. That home 7 games in Game 7 in Portland. That'll be tough, but I do see Oklahoma City. Okay, so the last one in the West, the number 2 seed Denver Nuggets against the number 7 San Antonio Spurs. This is another tough one. This Western Conference playoffs is going to be really good.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And some people might call it an upset, but I think experience plays a role here.
Yeah.
And Greg Popovich being, one of the top coaches in the league, playing a Nuggets team who's just on the rise, I really do think that they can give him a contest, and they can. It won't be easy, but I think they can pull out an upset in 6 games.
6 games. Okay. This, from what I hear, Denver's a really good home team, average away team. So I think that this could go, each team wins at home kind of thing.
Okay.
So I'm not leaning towards 7 games. This whole youth versus veterans type stuff, the amount of playoff experience Greg Popovich has, I think, is 3 lifetimes worth. I mean, has made the playoffs in 20 years in a row, or 21 or 22 years in a row.
Oof.
It's insane.
That is.
Versus a Denver team who hasn't been in the playoffs in years, and none of the players. No, wait, I don't think that's true. I think there's 1 or 2 guys who have been in a playoff series before, but their starting 5, maybe like 4 or 5 of them, haven't played in the playoffs a single game.
Right.
So this is extreme from one end of the spectrum to the other, just extreme difference. I like your pick in San Antonio. This is really hard for me. Another close one, like we said, but I think I'm going to go with Denver. I am. I'm going to go with Denver in 6, just because of that home court. I think that they're one of the best home teams in the league. So they'll start off 2-0, maybe lose one in San Antonio, win another, go up 3-1, and just kind of close it out with confidence, in my opinion.
All right.
All right. So this is like I said, the playoffs are going to be amazing, man. I mean, the Eastern Conference is even more of a toss-up.
I can't wait.
It's amazing. So the number 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks is going to play the number 8 seed Detroit Pistons. Who do you have with that one?
I think obviously Milwaukee is the favorite here, and because of that talent that they have, and not just the Greek Freak, but there's other players on the court that can ball too. So I'm gonna go like my Western pick, and I'm gonna give Detroit 1 game, and I'm gonna go Milwaukee in 5.
Milwaukee in 5, okay. I like Milwaukee, but I'm going to go with my Western pick and call it a sweep. I think that the shooting for Milwaukee has been what people didn't expect. I think that Giannis, like we said, defensive player, MVP, is one of the best players in the league. I think he's going to show up in the playoffs. I think he's going to be like, I'm here to stay. This is me. I am MVP, and I'm going to run the East. He's going to take over LeBron's spot, and he's going to just dominate, I think. So I think Bucks in 4 easy. So, all right, moving on to number 4 and 5. Number 4, Boston Celtics versus the number 5 Indiana Pacers. This is an odd one. I mean, the Celtics kind of limped into the playoffs. What do you think?
And this is the segment part where we were gonna save our lovely upset type picks here, and sorry Boston fans,
Ooh,
but
I like it.
The way the Pacers played, especially without Oladipo, it's just shocking to most, and Boston, they do. I don't think they're the same team as they were last year. So I'm calling an upset, whether that would be in Game 6 or Game 7. Indiana Pacers take the first round.
Okay, all right, it's a good pick. I like this upset as well. I'm having a hard time pulling the trigger on it. Just because of Kyrie Irving. I think he's Laker fan in me says, die Celtics die.
Right.
But I'm gonna have to go Boston in 6. It's a big factor just because of the Garden. The Garden's gonna be crazy. I think Irving shows up in the playoffs, and I think they figure it out at least for the first round. So I'd say Celtics in 6.
Okay. Fair point.
Yeah. So the number 3 Philadelphia 76ers are going to face the number 6 Brooklyn Nets.
Whew.
Brooklyn Nets really showed people this year. It came out of nowhere. This is supposed to be a lottery team. And they're the number 6 seed in the East. So,
right.
What do you got?
I I do like the rise of the Nets here, and they're definitely a lot more better than they were last year, and I do like the talent they have there. Just I don't think this is their year. I think Philly has been looking forward to this, getting back to the playoff spot from last year, and just being a team hopefully of dynasty, and it starts tomorrow, and
Yeah.
I think they might actually, and it with Joel Embiid not playing game one, most likely, still see Philly taking that first game even without him, and I could even see him maybe even losing 2 games, but I still take the Sixers overall in this round.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think that Brooklyn being a home playoff game in 3 and 4, I think that they're going to show up in one of those. I think fans in Brooklyn are going to be super pumped that their team is in the playoffs. I mean, it's just so rare. This has been a bottom team for how many years now? So I think the fans are going to go crazy in Game 3, and they'll probably pull one out. But you're right. I think I see the Clippers in 5, or Clippers. I think I see the Sixers in 5.
All right, fair enough.
All right, so to finish off the first round, we have the number 2 seed Toronto Raptors against the number 7 seed Orlando Magic. What do you think?
Orlando's a difficult team to judge here, but I'm honestly surprised that they're a playoff team, but just kind of squeaking in past the 8th seed there in Detroit. I think Toronto they've been always an up and down team, but last year they had a great run, and they're going to be back at it, and they're going to I'd see them winning in 5, maybe losing 1 game.
Yeah. I got Toronto as a sweep. This is Orlando's. They're in a place they don't belong, pretty much, in my opinion.
Right.
I don't know how they got in. This is another team that was a bottom team for years, and they somehow managed to get number 7 in these. So, all right. Well, this has been another great episode, man. I appreciate you hopping on again.
No doubt.
Episode 2 is a wrap. I would like to thank everybody who's listening. Like I said before, it's Gamertime shows pretty much on every platform. Twitter, Gamertime shows. YouTube, Gamertime shows. If you want to email us, gamertimeshows@gmail.com. So we really appreciate everybody listening, and I'm out. What do you guys say?
Once again, thank you guys for listening. And we just continue to love the support, and we're gonna be here for you as best we can, just giving you the best information of what's going on around the league, of all the sports, and we hope you stay with us and even help us market. So keep at us, folks, and I am Big Al Mocius, and this is Matt Kelly. Thank you again.
Oh yeah.